The story begins in the Congo jungle, Africa, where a group of mercenaries is sent to search for a legendary diamond named Opar. The mission aims to pay off the massive debt of their country, Belgium. Guided by some locals, Ram, who leads the search, finally succeeds in finding the diamond's location. However, the indigenous tribe there is ready to welcome them and mercilessly eliminate all the soldiers. Witnessing this, Ram stands alone. The tribal chief, Bonga, knows Ram's purpose for visiting their territory. Then Bonga brings out the Opar diamond and strikes a deal with Ram, demanding that Ram bring Tarzan to him if he wants all the diamonds. Shifting to London, England, we focus on a handsome man named John Clayton III. He is attending a meeting of important people because he has been invited by the King of Belgium to tour African countries, visiting newly built schools and churches. However, John flatly refuses the offer and chooses to leave the meeting. Dr. Williams, unwilling to accept John's refusal, chases after him and tries to persuade John again, saying that John's purpose there is not for tourism, but to verify the truth about the slavery conducted by the King of Belgium throughout the Congo region in Africa. Dr. Williams also asked John to include him in the journey. Hearing this, John's refusal changes. He decides to go to the Congo with Dr. Williams. Before that, we are taken back to several years ago when John and his family were still in the African jungle. John is the child of a wealthy family and a member of the Royal Council. John's parents were stranded deep in the African jungle because the plane they were on was looted by bandits. After several months in the jungle, John's parents, along with baby John, continued their lives by living in a treehouse. Until one day John, still not understanding anything, had to accept the loss of his mother due to various diseases. Not long after, he also had to lose his father, who was attacked by a group of gorillas. At the same time, a female gorilla named Kayla, along with her son Akut, came to John's treehouse and took him to be raised. Initially, all the gorillas did not accept John's presence, and often John had to face threats from them. However, Kayla successfully protected him all this time, and continued to raise John until he grew up to become Tarzan. Time passes, and when Tarzan has grown up, he accidentally meets Jane, a volunteer girl who teaches at a village near the forest where Tarzan lives. Their meeting coincides with the sudden attack of a group of gorillas on Jane. Seeing this, Tarzan quickly protects Jane with his body, getting injured by the blow from his gorilla brother Akut. Then, Jane immediately takes Tarzan to the village to take care of him. After recovering, two people from the jungle's indigenous tribe go on a gorilla hunt with the intention of performing a wealth ritual. The two manage to kill Kayla, Tarzan's gorilla mother. Learning of this, Tarzan becomes enraged. He leads several gorillas to chase them down, then takes their lives. Unbeknownst to him, one of them is the child of the tribal chief Bonga. This is why Bonga harbors a deep grudge against Tarzan, and will do anything to avenge his late child's death. Returning to the present, where John brings news to Jane, his wife, about his return to the Congo jungle, Africa. Upon hearing John's plan, Jane becomes very excited. However, John emphasizes that this journey is not for tourism or a reunion with the gorilla group, but to verify the truth about the reports of slavery there. Therefore, John asks Jane to stay with the group for her safety. The next day, John, Jane, and Dr. Williams immediately set out on their journey to Africa and encounter a pride of lions. John reunites with one of the lions after a long absence. John's presence in Africa is soon discovered by Leon Rom and his troops. Rom holds a meeting with Frum and learns that John is visiting the village where Jane once lived and where John was treated when he was Tarzan. From this meeting, Rom also plans to request the help of mercenaries from Frum, using the Opar diamonds to capture Tarzan. John and Jane's arrival is warmly welcomed by the local authorities, including all the villagers and Jane's old friends. Here, Dr. Williams learns that Jane grew up with the tribal people, teaching them English alongside her father. That night, John, Jane, and Dr. Williams are invited to join the tribe's customary feast. John also receives news from the tribal chief about the truth of the reports that many people have been kidnapped to be traded as slaves. However, John remains calm because he does not want to ruin the happy moment for everyone. After the feast, Jane goes to bed to join John. Rom's mercenaries arrive, detaining all the tribal people while brandishing firearms. Fortunately, John quickly realizes their arrival and begins to take down the soldiers one by one. However, John's action is halted after dozens of mercenaries manage to capture him, along with the tribal chief who is killed by Ram. Besides tying up John and taking Jane with him, Ram also detains several villagers to be enslaved. However, they are unaware that Dr. Williams has managed to free the villagers and then eliminate the mercenaries. The freed villagers assist Dr. Williams's resistance by shooting at them. However, their efforts are not very successful because Jane, along with several villagers, is taken away, while John manages to escape and rolls into the forest. Ram, knowing that John will surely return to save Jane, chooses to leave on his ship. The next day, Dr. Williams realizes that the perpetrator who kidnapped Jane and several villagers is Leon Ram, an envoy of the King of Belgium and the head of the slavery division in Africa. The truth about the slavery conducted by the King of Belgium is thus exposed, making John extremely angry. Then he and the villagers intend to save Jane by taking a direct path through the forest, hoping to catch up with the steam train to reach the Boma Mountains. John's reckless action with the villagers overwhelms Dr. Williams. Fortunately, he still manages to follow their way of moving from tree to tree, then swinging to get on top of the steam train. Here, John is again shocked by the truth that the steam train is carrying hundreds of indigenous people to be enslaved. Unwilling to accept this, John shows his prowess by fighting the soldiers guarding the train. One of them turns out to be in charge of overseeing the construction of a bridge. He also informs John and Dr. Williams that Ram has successfully built fortresses in several areas. These fortresses are connected by a steam train line, which will later be filled with tens of thousands of mercenaries obtained from Frum. To fund these mercenaries, Ram needs the Opar diamonds. All this is deliberately done to save the King of Belgium from all his debts and to make himself rich. On the other hand, Jane discovers that the invitation in the name of the King of Belgium is a ruse by Leon Ram to lure John into the forest. Ram's true intention is to obtain the Opar diamonds from Mbonga in exchange for handing over John or Tarzan. Ram also orders his mercenaries to detain Jane and take a young tribesman hostage to prevent her escape. Upon reaching the Boma Mountains, Dr. Williams finds evidence in a book revealing the slavery conducted by the King of Belgium, from the plans to the list of indigenous tribes they have enslaved. John and Dr. Williams ask some people to guard the book while they go to seek help from a group of guerrillas. John intends to challenge the current guerrilla leader, Akut, who is John's brother from the time he was known as Tarzan. Since this is a battle among guerrillas, Dr. Williams is strictly forbidden from assisting John. In the fight, John is injured and forced to kneel before Akut. John's wounds are quickly treated, and the two continue their journey to save Jane. In their time of need, John is approached by elephants willing to help him. Elsewhere in the jungle, Ram crosses waters filled with crocodiles. He callously drops one of the tribesmen, prompting Jane to dive in to save him. This incident gives Jane the chance to escape from the ship. However, her actions provoke a pack of hippos to chase them. Jane's flight unwittingly leads her to an area where a group of guerrillas is relaxing. Without hesitation, Jane bows her head as Ram and his mercenaries arrive. One of the mercenaries shoots a gorilla, causing the others to follow suit. Outraged by this, Jane screams for help. John, who happens to be nearby, hears his wife's cries and rushes to the scene. Although John arrives late, he manages to save Akut from the gunfire. Together, they launch a counterattack to defeat the remaining mercenaries. Meanwhile, Ram and the rest of his mercenaries take Jane to the Mbonga tribe. Along the way, they are startled by screams that fuel Mbonga's rage. Ram's deal with Mbonga is complete. Tarzan is now before him, and Ram has obtained as many Opar diamonds as he wanted. The battle between John and the Mbonga tribe becomes inevitable. Fortunately, Tarzan manages to counterattack, followed by Dr. Williams and the arrival of all the guerrillas. Tarzan convinces the Mbonga tribe that the presence of the Opar diamonds will bring Ram and his mercenaries back to destroy them all. Dr. Williams says, "Let's forget the past. Both of you have lost someone very important in your lives." Not far from the battleground, the port of Boma is now filled with tens of thousands of Frum's mercenaries, as requested by Ram. John, refusing to be defeated, along with Dr. Williams and Akut, calls upon all the animals of Africa to aid in their assault. The indigenous people, along with the freed slaves, join in the attack. Tarzan wreaks havoc on Leon Ram's forces. For Tarzan, no pain is too great when it comes to achieving his desire to save his beloved wife, Jane, from Ram's villainy. Even though one of Ram's ships manages to set sail, Tarzan continues the pursuit, aided by Dr. Williams, who keeps shooting at them from a distance. Suddenly, Ram chokes Tarzan from behind and ties his neck to the ship's iron. Tarzan, unwilling to surrender, emits a mating call that attracts the crocodiles. He quickly captures Ram and throws him to be devoured by the crocodiles. All the indigenous tribes witness this victory and cheer. Instead of merely verifying the truth about slavery, Tarzan succeeds in saving all the indigenous people of Africa from the cruelty of the Belgian king. After all these events, Dr. Williams returns to London with a book of evidence of the Belgian king's slavery and hands it over to the authorities. Then, recognizing his great service, all the members of the council agree to honor Dr. Williams with the title George Washington Williams. Meanwhile, John and Jane choose to stay with the indigenous people of Africa. After settling for a year, they are blessed with a child, and with that, the film ends. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, because by subscribing you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.